Hi friends, welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. I'm Austin, and today's video is a house build. So this build started quite some time ago. I completely forgot about it, though. It's, a pretty large house on a small lot, and I'm really happy with the overall outcome of the house, though there is kind of a discrepancy, I think, between like the start of the build and the end of the build, mainly because like 2 weeks went by. I honestly forgot that I started this build, and the other day I was doing a room build in Oasis Springs, and I noticed this house in the world, and I went, that doesn't look like it, is normally there. So I checked it out, and yeah, turns out that I had a completely almost finished build that I hadn't finished, and with all the things that have been going on the last 2 weeks, I'd completely forgotten about it. So I started working on it again, and I was able to finish the build, but I think there is a slight difference in the style from like when I first started and when I finished the build. But I think overall the look of the house is great. It is a little strange. I don't know exactly why I kind of built the house with, I feel like I built this house with having it, with the mindset of it being like an attached home, so with maybe like 2 different houses to the left or right. I'm not really sure why I did that, though I'm pretty sure I had a purpose at the start, but like I said, with everything going on the last couple weeks, it just kind of left my mind, but I decided to stick with it and just finish the build pretty much. So yeah, this is a family home. It has 3 bedrooms, but one of the bedrooms has 2 beds in it. I kind of envisioned it as maybe a bed for siblings that are close in age. I have a toddler bed and a child bed in there, and then there is another bedroom for like maybe a teenager sim, and then there's the master bedroom with a small bathroom kind of off of it. So yeah, I'm not quite sure when this video is going up. It might come out on Monday or Thursday. I know last week was a really weird week. With, like I said, with everything that's been going on, I've had a tough time building, and so last week kind of really caught up to me, and I wasn't really able to get all the builds out that I wanted. I wasn't even able to finish most of the builds that I wanted, but now that my ankle is feeling better, I am able to build, I think, a lot better than I was. So yeah, hopefully that shows in the future, and hopefully there are more builds this week. And yeah, well, I mean, I'm not even quite sure yet when this video is coming out. This video might come out Saturday, though I think I might start doing room builds on Saturday. I'm not quite sure yet, but I think that might just kind of be fun, because room builds are a lot of fun. I think you can put a lot of detail in room builds, and I really like the series that I've been doing. Well, I guess it's sort of a series now, where I'm kind of taking everybody's input and trying to build a house around everybody's input around the room build. So that's been fun, and I hope to do more of that in the future. Hopefully there maybe is a video like that going on right now, so I should probably link it somewhere. So yeah, I honestly have very little recollection of doing this build, and the other worst part was, like, towards the end of the build, my game was just, like, screwing up, and it was lagging so much that I, like, kept having to, like, load up the game and then, like, quit out, and then, I was checking, like, what things were running in the background, thinking maybe something was running that shouldn't be, but nothing out of the ordinary, and it was just kind of freaking out every couple hours. So that kind of delayed my ability to do this build, but I'm really happy with how it looks. I have a living room, kind of reading area, and then a like family room in the back of the house. I think it looks really nice. I sort of did this with the family home I did a couple weeks ago, where it has like a reading area and a living room or family room. But this build actually started out before it, so I guess I might have taken some of that inspiration and put it into that build. But I yeah, I mean, I don't really remember doing this build, but I have all the footage and everything, and I'm really happy with how it looks. I would say, like, I don't remember doing like most of this build, but I do remember doing this kitchen. I was really happy with how it turned out. You know, it's kind of a large kitchen. It's has a lot of counter space, and I really wanted to make sure it didn't feel too just vacant, I guess was the word I'm trying to say. And I think I did a pretty good job cluttering it, but not like over cluttering it, because I feel like there's a very fine line between having like too much stuff and having not enough. But I think this kind of part of the build has just the right amount of things to make it look nice. At least I think it looks nice. Hopefully it does. And so this was probably my favorite room of the house, though I really like how this house turned out. You know, family homes are always one of my favorite things to work on. You know, there's so much variation that you can do with family homes, and I really like being able to kind of see what comes from builds like this, and maybe learning lessons and taking it into other builds, though not necessarily like copying other builds, which part of this house maybe feels a bit like it was copied. And so yeah, I made sure to put a TV in here, but there's not a lot of TVs in this build, and a part of me feels like it's sort of stepping back into like an older kind of era, because there's so few TVs in this build, and there's very few computers. I think there's one computer, so it feels very much like, I don't know, when I was younger. Nowadays I think pretty much there's a computer for every person in the house, or at least all my friends and me. That's sort of how it's been since like high school. And I feel like back when I was a kid, there was like one computer, and it was the family computer, where you would play solitaire and spider solitaire and other games. So I mean, a lot's changed since then, and I think for the better. Obviously, I love playing The Sims, and I never played The Sims 1, but I did play The Sims 2 towards the end of its kind of life cycle, and then I played The Sims 3, and you might have seen me play The Sims 4, I don't know. But I just computers have really changed, like from when I was a kid. Like I remember not having internet, and it's really weird to like think about how like nowadays it's just kind of so common, and like people just like grew up with the internet. And I was like, or I guess you could say I was lucky in that I was still a pretty young child, but I was like old enough to understand like the kind of the impact the internet had. Like it really connected everything. So it's just kind of one of those weird things to think about. I don't know why I'm really talking about that during this build, but I hope it's enjoyable. So yeah, this is actually the kind of tail end of the build. Not the like end of the build. I mean, this is pretty much when I started up again after 2 weeks of completely forgetting that this existed. And I ended up having the kind of entertainment space happen on the second floor, at least like barbecuing, or not barbecuing, but grilling, and eating and sleeping, and that's pretty much it. Like I said, it's a pretty simple home. I don't think it's too expensive, but it's probably a little on the pricier side. I know in the past I've built some pretty like spacious homes for relatively cheap. I think if you want your Sims to live in a bigger home, either because they have a bigger family or stuff like that, one of the best ways to ensure that is to kind of lower the clutter. I love clutter in this game, but like some of this clutter is like way too expensive for your Sims. And so when I play, typically my Sims live in houses that don't have kind of all the bells and whistles of a kind of luxurious home. And like, I mean, deep down, do like the Sims really need a toilet roll dispenser or a toilet paper dispenser? Not really, but I mean, I think it makes builds look cooler, but for the practicality of living, it's not needed. So if your Sims are tight on cash, that would be my one recommendation as to something to make sure your house looks nice, but not like super realistic, because I mean, it is The Sims after all. I did end up cutting a lot of the bathroom footage just because this build was pretty long. One thing I'd say about building for me since I've had my ankle injury is for some reason I've just taken longer, and hopefully that fixes itself in the future, because I don't like cutting out footage, but I also don't like speeding up footage too fast. So I'm kind of in like a bind here where I'm having to cut out a little bit of footage and making videos a little longer. But this video I didn't have to make it any longer. This should be about the average speed of my videos, but it was pretty close. Because I want to keep my videos under 15 minutes, because I feel like, I don't know, having 20-minute videos is great, but they can be tough to watch sometimes, especially if you're trying to watch a lot of Sims videos, and you can only fit in maybe like 4 videos instead of maybe like 5 or anything like that. I try to watch videos through their entirety, which I respect anybody that watches my videos completely through, and so yeah, I don't know really what I was trying to get at there. I'm just saying I really I'm trying to keep my videos on the shorter side, and maybe in the future I will split videos up from like part 1 and part 2, but then on that like side of things, I don't know exactly how that would go. If you have any input on what you feel about that, feel free to let me know. I've done it in the past, and I think it's sometimes hard because YouTube can be a little weird with notifying subscribers about new uploads, so some people might not see part 2, and but if that's sort of the trend you want me to go, then I will strongly consider it and probably try it a couple times, because I really like my builds, and I really like being able to show you the build in their entirety, because I feel like when I watch builds I tend to learn things I didn't know. That's why I try to keep my videos not too fast, and I try not to cut out things, because if there's something that you didn't know about that you find out from watching my builds, then that's great, and I wouldn't want to take that away from anybody. But yeah, so that was kind of a ramble. I had a lot of fun with the kind of nature-themed bedroom. There's a lot of green and a lot of items from Outdoor Retreat. I just love how warm this room looks, and I love that bed from Outdoor Retreat. If somebody had told me about that bed, I probably would have bought that pack sooner, but I found out about it now, and I'm completely in love with it, so I'll probably be using that more in the future. But yeah, so this build is pretty much on its pretty much wrapping up. I just tried to do some finishing touches and make the house feel more like a home, something that's a little more lived in, and I feel like I did a pretty good job here with the second floor. The landing area, or I think it's called the landing, is not huge, but it's also not small, so I felt like I had to add something in there, so that's why I did the computer there, and also a fish tank, just because I couldn't really fit in a bookshelf in there. It just didn't feel right. And I put some plants around because this family seems to embrace nature, and seems to like to bring kind of the greens from like the forest or stuff maybe inside their home that is in the desert. So yeah, as you can see, screenshots are zooming by. I had a lot of fun taking screenshots of this build. I think even though my computer probably hates it, I love having the lighting on its highest setting, because I don't know, it just really makes the build look just so gorgeous. So that's what I did here, and I hope you enjoy these screenshots. But anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. If you are new to the channel and you want to see more videos like this, then subscribing and clicking the bell go a long way. And if you enjoyed this video, then please be sure to hit the like button. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.